from that matter, the members of the Nigerian Senate are considering a reduction of election costs and campaign period in a move to ensure that presidential, governorship and local government elections all hold on the same day. Well, at this point, let's see if we have Comrade Katchy on the line to lend his deep wealth of knowledge with us on this particular matter of national interest. Hello and a very warm morning to you, Comrade Katchy. It's wonderful to have you join us on Morning Express today.
Oh yes, very good morning to you and to our wonderful viewers. Thank you for having me.
Well, first things first, let's start off with the red chambers. What do you make of the recent move by the Senate to ensure that as part of electoral reforms in the country, elections are to be reduced to just one day? I'm talking about general elections now, and also in a bid to cut down campaign durations or campaign periods to make it more effective and more streamlined. What are your thoughts, Comrade?
Yes, the attempt to streamline election period, especially compressing it to one day, is a welcome idea, and it will help to reduce issues of thuggery and suppression, intimidation, harassment, violence that are associated with our elections. And it will also reduce issues of malpractices that's associated with our elections. So it will improve our election credibility, fairness, and other things that we expect to have in our elections. So it's a good one. Then for the issue of reducing the campaign period, it's also a welcome one, because it will reduce the pressure being mounted on the politicians, especially those that have emerged as candidates in their various political parties. It will reduce the pressures they face on daily basis with regards to this election campaign and expectations on them.
Well, Comrade Katchy, in addition to this, the Senate wants to reduce the duration of election campaigns. However, the argument surrounding this is as to the fact that these campaigns are quite rightly timed, especially for presidential candidates who have to travel all around the country to ensure that they touch every nook and cranny of the nation. I would want you to react to this. Do you think it's also timely? But before you do, could you help us turn down the volume of the device you have in front of you, either the audio set or the television set? It's reoccurring.
The idea to reduce the campaigns, period, or days they spend in campaign is one of the laudable achievements if they succeed with this electoral amendment, electoral act amendment, election act amendment. In reducing the duration for campaigns, it will be good, honestly, and it will reduce the cost of conducting, organizing election in our country. And just like I said earlier, those that will be primary beneficiary of it will be the politicians, because it will reduce the cost of running campaign, the cost of running for an election. It will do a lot of things, honestly speaking, and the pressure that is associated with it. It will also reduce the influence that we have had with regards to the electoral umpire, and then the violence that we occasionally observe during these campaigns among contesting parties.
Now, you might also note that according to Senator Saliu Mustafa of the All Progressives Congress from Kwara Central, he said that the cost of general elections in Nigeria has risen astronomically from 1.5 billion naira in 1999 to 350 billion naira in 2023. That's the last general elections. That's quite a very astronomical move in less than 3 decades. 1.5 billion to 350 billion naira. What do you think the figure might look like come 2027?
Is it for the electoral umpire or for those running for elections.
Well, it is for the electoral umpire.
Oh yes, you know that we are growing as a nation, but then our economy is shrinking. As at 1999 that he made reference to, if you convert the 1.5 billion naira that is spent on the electoral umpire to dollar, and the 350 billion naira that's possibly spent in the last general election 2023 and convert it to dollar rate today, you will discover that there's not much difference. Certainly there will be no much difference, because as at 1999, our naira to dollar is less than 100 naira. It's about 50 something or there. It's less than, even it's not to 50 naira naira to dollar. But as of today, naira to dollar exchange is over 1,000 plus, over 1,000, 1,500 and something, depending on where you are buying the dollar.
Yeah.
So if you are to do the mathematics, you will discover that even as of 1999, you don't be surprised we may be even spending more than what we are doing today. Now, having said that, the increase in population that we have incurred as at 1999, I'm sure that the electorate we have in 1999 is not up to 30 million, as the case may be. But as of today, we are almost heading to 100 million voters or electorate, with regards to INEC portal, the number of voters they have recorded. As a last general election, it's over 80 million. So meaning that by 2027, we may be heading to up to 100 million electorate that are expected to cast their vote. So with this kind of increase with regards to number of persons, certainly we expect that there will be increase in their budget.
Well, Comrade Katchy, let's leave the Senate and move on to the House of Representatives, where we saw yesterday the Deputy Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, throwing out a bill seeking to create immunity or reverse immunity for vice presidents, governors, and other public office holders who have been enjoying immunity all this while. Now, the House came under fire for throwing out this bill. What do you make of this development, and do you think that the House should have considered this without just throwing it out of the window in less than 24 hours?
You see, the bill that to reduce the immunity clause with regards to executive is a welcome one, but then it needs to do with most holistic consideration. For example, I saw in the report that they want to remove immunity clause for the vice president, and you ask yourself, are we electing vice president differently? President and the vice president is a joint ticket, just like governor and deputy governor. Same with executive chairman in a local government.
So what that bill seeks to do for the executive at the federal level is almost what is obtainable now with state governors and local government council chairmen, where state governors have immunity, but the LGA bosses do not have immunity. So it will be that the president has immunity, but the vice president could be arrested, could be prosecuted in any manner due to the lack of immunity. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. During the election, they run on a joint ticket, meaning that you don't vote president different and vote vice president different, neither vote governor different and vote vice president, deputy governor different. They run on a joint ticket. So there's no way you can separate it and say, okay, the president have immunity while the vice doesn't have immunity. It doesn't tarry. We can only do that when we must have amended our constitution and say, okay, in our elections, we can cast vote for president different and cast vote for vice president different. At least by so doing, if it will make more meaning if we decide to, separate the immunities. But now they are running on a joint ticket. And that is why, if president is not around, the vice will be a placeholder. We hold the office pending when he returns. So separating, trying to give immunity to president and leaving vice is, to me, is discriminatory in nature. is against fundamental rights to benefits that is associated with elections. So it doesn't go down well with me. But if they decide to remove immunity, it should be for the entire ticket. If you are removing immunity for governors, it should be the same with the deputy.
Well, Comrade Katchy, wouldn't that throw the entire country into a state of chaos? Because a lot of people might capitalize on this lack of immunity to witch hunt certain public office holders, especially the executives.
Even the abuse we are trying to avoid will be strengthened and expanded, in the sense that if maybe, as we have seen in the past, during Obasanjo era, when Obasanjo and his vice we are having loggerhead, it will be a very good tool to, suppress the vice. Or last year when Obaseke and Shuaibu, we are having issues. It will give more energy to whatever the governor decides to do with his deputy. It doesn't tell good, and it will not help to improve our governance. So if in their own wisdom they decide to remove immunity, which we support, that the immunity clause should be removed, especially from governors down in all the executive levels. Yeah, they can leave the president and the vice president own. It will make a lot of sense. This attitude of abusing offices and privileges will reduce.
Well,
you understand?
well, Comrade Katchy, I'm afraid time is not on our side. This is a very interesting conversation, and I wish we had more time for you to adequately do justice to this topic. But let's move on, but still staying with the House of Representatives. How about the bill seeking to reduce the age limit for presidential candidacy and governorship candidacy to below 60? Now, this is something that the House of Representatives is seriously considering. What are your thoughts on this particular matter?
Honestly speaking, the age limit, yes, everything that has a beginning must have an end. For example, in our civil service, it is expected that you don't spend more than 65 years due to energy that is associated with the service, and that is expected in leadership or governance. But then I think 60 as the benchmark is they can extend it to make it the same thing with civil service, 65. It shouldn't be 60. You recall that we used this age thing, in the last general election, and our current president, in one of his defense, claimed that we are not going for a wrestling match. That is brain work that we are going for. So I support the reduction of age, but then if we are reducing age, we should also consider to extend and expand elective age. It shouldn't be that at 18 years you have the entitlement, you have the right to cast vote, but you don't have right to be voted for. For example, if you are to run for governor or senate, you must be up to 35 years, as the case may be. No, it should be once you are eligible to vote from 18, you can contest election. It shouldn't be that 18 you can cast election, you can vote for election, you cannot be voted for. No, these are some of the things we should look at. You understand? If you look at in almost all the fields of life, those that are performing exceptionally well are those with their youthful age, those that are still have the vibrancy, that's enthusiasm, that's energy, that vibe to go. You look at in sports, for example, those that are doing a lot of exploits are those that are still coming up. The energy is there, the enthusiasm is there, the strength is there. So it shouldn't be that on one hand we are bridging it at 60. Again, if you look at civil service, I use as a case study.
Yeah.
If you are seeking for job, nobody will stop you from seeking from job from 18 years and upwards, but they benchmark it at 65 years. So that should be applicable when it comes to elective office. It shouldn't be that they put benchmark that you must from the amendment they want to do, that if you are up to 60 and above, you are not eligible to go for president. No, if they are to do that, they should allow our youths to contest election. If you are 18 years and above, that's age of reasoning, that's age of adulthood with regards to our laws and the Child Right Act. You should be allowed to, contest.
Well,
that we can make a lot of in ways with regards to improving good governance.
Well, Comrade Katchy, I'm afraid this is all time will permit for us to have your take on the program. Hopefully, we will have you join us next time in a much relaxed manner to deliberate more on more critical national issues in the news. But thank you so much and do have a nice day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.